that most of these farms are not water wealthy enough to sustain those type of operations, a vegetable operation. If these farms were strictly vegetables or high water use crops, we would never get through a season on an average, that there just wouldn't be enough water to be available.
I mean, you can't take the fields we were standing in and make them all organic. It just won't work.
Because we only get about 12 to 14 inches of rain here, and so there's no crops that can exist on that. Even vegetable crops have to have the water that's provided through the irrigation systems.
People just don't understand it. You may have an irrigation ditch that goes through somebody's property that they have a right. There's been a right to go through that property for many years, and somebody buys that property and think that, they own the property, but they can do what they want with it, and they can't. And so it's all about education.
There hasn't been really good upkeep of the ditch systems in a lot of areas, so you just got open dirt ditches, and there's lots of weeds on them, which creates lots of weed seeds and creates lots of weed pressure on all the farms around here.
That is something that's totally different from the East Coast. Back there, a lot of them are trying to get water off the land so that they can actually grow crops, where we're trying to put water on the land to grow crops.
This farm here is in kind of the middle of the road area as far as, it's an 1873 water right. That sounds like that's a pretty impressive deal, but when you go back 2 years to 1871, it's a huge deal, even till this day. And the first right out of Boulder Creek is 1859, one of the first water decrees in the state of Colorado.
One of the advantages to the water in this area is we have some of the best water rights in the state of Colorado. We have ditches that are 1859, 1860 decrees before Colorado was a state. And you can go to eastern Colorado where it's easier to turn on a switch and pump a well, but some of that water is decreed in the 1930s, 1940s. You don't know if it'll be here in 20 years. Our challenge here is to make it more efficient as we use it. Flood irrigation is one of the least efficient methods of using it.
We do a much better job putting water on our crops with sprinklers than we did prior to that with the flood irrigation, where you had a hard time controlling what happened, or controlling the water, how it gets to your crops. It's much easier to go out and program your sprinkler and tell it to do exactly what you want to do. All you have to do is make sure it's running every day. So there's so much advantage to the sprinklers. The sprinklers make us way better farmers.
With a pivot irrigation system now, we use probably a third of the water that we did normally with flood irrigation, and we get over it much more efficiently. And
I'm on the board of directors of 3 different irrigation companies, and I sit on the board of directors of the Domestic Left-Hand Water Board. And I probably work on water 10 to 12 days a month.
Water is always a concern. We compete with the whole Front Range for water, so when you talk about being as efficient as you can, or using every tool possible as far as strip till or whatever to save, it's all precious, and it's precious to everybody.